Hey everyone, Bradley Stalder here of BestBell Fantasy, and tonight I'm going to be answering your start sit questions. I'll be going through all of them. I'll be up as long as you guys are, and happy to bring you some of the best start sit content in the industry. Let's get into it.
Hey, really the only thing that gon' be normal is distribution. Normal folks gon' infuse some. Optimize your lineups and you feed the rest, you mute them. Turning it up, these numbers are loud. Peeping this game from a nimbus is wild. Making it rain. While I embrace all this risk, I'm insane. Talking about that best bell, I'm the best rest till into the next world. Guess I got next still. BestBell, I'm the best rest till into the next world. Guess I got next still. Hey, really the only thing that gon' be normal is distribution. Normal folks gon' infuse some. Optimize your lineups and you feed the rest.
Hey everyone, it's Bradley Stalder here of BestBell Fantasy Football, and tonight I'm going to be jumping through some start sit questions for you. This is your opportunity to drop your start sits in the comments to discuss a little bit of each of the players. This is crunch time. We are now into week 11. We got a couple of teams on bye this week. Obviously, the Indianapolis Colts, New Orleans Saints, they're on bye. We might be losing like Chris Olave's or Michael Pittman. Obviously, those are players that have contributed to our fantasy teams, but have had their ups and downs this season. So maybe we're trying to, in a pinch, find another player to step in for Taysom Hill. Maybe we've been riding the Taysom Hill train over the last few weeks, and now we've got to find another tight end. So you could be in a particularly precarious situation, and you need to know, who am I going to start? What am I going to do? If you don't want to put your comments in the comment section, what you can do is you can go to bestbellfantasy.com and go to rankings, and you can just drop down the rankings. So you can check that out there. You can toggle through half, full PPR, standard. I've got IDP. I've got defense, special teams. I've got flex, super flex, tight end, quarterback rankings, running back, wide receiver, kicker. All of the rankings that you need to be successful, win your leagues, get them there, bestbellfantasy.com, and then click on rankings. We don't have any comments yet, but I'm excited to see y'all fill out the comments section here on Best Bell Fantasy Stardom Sit-em for week 11. I'm excited to be answering those questions for y'all. I know that we're excited about week 11. We have had some injury news updates. Justin Jefferson not expected to be activated off of IR. So if you were planning on playing Justin Jefferson this week, you have to find alternative plans. He's not officially ruled out technically, but he won't be activated off of IR, and so you may have to put him just back onto your injured reserve list. So that's a problem. What's not a problem is Devon Achane. Achane was activated off of the injured reserve, so we can start Devon Achane immediately. So don't be worried about Devon Achane. I expect that he's going to get between 30 and 40% of snaps in this first week back. Mike McDaniel was a little snappy when it came to a reporter who asked, so is Achane going to be, what's his workload going to be like week one? Is he going to be eased in, or is he going to get full complement of snaps? And McDaniel retorted, you must have a lot of money on fantasy football to be asking me that type of question. So it was funny. Shout out to the fantasy community. But I still think you put Devon Achane in your starting lineup. Right now, Devon Achane is my running back 13. The consensus has him at 9. I have a few concerns about Achane. One is I said that I don't think he's going to get his 50% snap share like he was in the 2 weeks before going on in the injured reserve. Second is that Raheem Mostert is still there. And third is this game is a shootout potential type of game that will very much lean in Miami's favor. We expect Miami to blow out the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders are 5-5 on the year. The Miami Dolphins 6-3. With one of the best offenses, it could be any one of Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Raheem Mostert. And then if the game gets out of hand, do you think they're going to ride the rookie? I don't think they're going to ride the rookie coming right off of injured reserve. I think it's going to be some of Salvin Ahmed, Jeff Wilson getting a couple touches sprinkled in here and there. On Achane, not a player that we are starting him, but I don't have him as top 10 this week like the consensus does. Okay, we'll start with the first question. Blurpy, start 3. Are we going with Henry, White, Garrett Wilson, or Singletary? The cool thing about going to bestballfantasy.com and going to rankings and then weekly rankings, you can do this exact search and you can say, hey, Bradley, I need to find out PPR. So you can toggle the PPR and then you can just Control F, search each of those names. So that's what I'm doing right now. Derrick Henry at 46, Rachaad White at 47. So they're back to back. Give me Henry slightly over Rachaad White in full PPR, but it's a lot closer in full PPR than it is in half PPR. Garrett Wilson is at 28. So we're starting Garrett Wilson, Derrick Henry, and then Singletary is at 39. So we do have Singletary ahead of Derrick Henry and Rachaad White. So we're sitting Rachaad White out of these 4. Pacheco, Singletary, or Mostert. I'm assuming this is full PPR. We will see. So Pacheco, I have it flex 63. Singletary, I have it 39. And Mostert, I have it 56. Pacheco is the odd man out here in the rankings. Your boy, the alien. Shout out to you from YouTube. Thank you for tuning in. That's how I have it. The concerns with Pacheco are obviously Philadelphia Eagles front 7. They're always very good. Pacheco also is one of those players that has had a couple pass catching opportunities in the past, but Jerick McKinnon tends to eat into them. Clyde Edwards-Helaire tends to eat into them. Like we have seen on 4 different occasions this year, Isaiah Pacheco earn at least 4 targets, but in this game against Miami in week 9, 1 target, no receptions. In fact, there have been 3 games where Isaiah Pacheco has had 1 or fewer receptions in a particular game. Now, he had a nice little game against Denver where he 6 for 36 through the air. But we see like a limited ceiling for Isaiah Pacheco because he only has 4 touchdowns on the season. And if we look at his game finishes, only 1 top 10 week, despite being tied to the Patrick Mahomes Kansas City Chiefs offense, only 1 for what we expect to be the lead back. And so we see a little bit of chipping away and other red zone opportunities, like Kadarius Toney may get some red zone looks. Rashee Rice gets some red zone looks. Obviously, Travis Kelce will get his red zone looks. So that's how I view it as Pacheco is just one among many, and the Kansas City Chiefs offense is very evenly distributed, which means that there's not going to be a lot of ceiling games outside of Travis Kelce. So Pacheco, unfortunately, is the odd man out here. Di Mafieri, shout out to you from YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you. Hey, pick 2 to start at running back. Hall, Pollard, or Swift. Should I use my flex to start all 3? I'm starting Adams and Waddle at wide receiver, but I have Mike Evans on my bench. Wow, this is a pretty good team. Shout out to you for crafting a team like this. Looking at the rankings, Breece Hall I have at 15 this week. Pollard I have at 16. Swift is down at 24 for this week. Adams is at 18. Swift is the odd man out so far. And Waddle is at 17. So I actually have Waddle ahead of Devontae Adams this week in the full PPR. So we're going Hall and Pollard and Waddle are my top 3. That's how I have it. D. Mafieri. Jose, shout out to you. Thank you for your support and thanks for tuning in. If Michael Wilson is out, Gabe Davis, Charbonnet, or Hubbard, 1 PPR. Did we get word that Michael Wilson is going to be out? I know he had been dealing with injuries lately, but he is officially questionable for week 11. He showed up on the injury report for the first time on Friday and was limited participant. So we are monitoring this situation. Are we going to look at Gabe Davis, Charbonnet, or Hubbard? Gabe Davis right now is my flex 80, wide receiver 41. Charbonnet is at 105. Hubbard is at 82. So Gabe Davis is the highest in full PPR, but it's a coin flip pretty much between him and Chuba Hubbard. Yeah. In a game where Dallas, they have a tough front seven, they usually are pretty good stopping the run. Chuba Hubbard, as much as he has been earning more play over Miles Sanders, he's had a couple tough games as of late. And we know that Gabe Davis struggles against tough secondaries, but he's also 1 or 2 big plays waiting to happen. So let's go with Gabe Davis here. It's close, though, with Chuba Hubbard. Charbonnet in a distant third in the rankings. All right, Thielen or Singletary in the flex. Yeah, Thielen right now I have at 38 overall. Singletary I have at 39. So it's back-to-back. It's a tough question, but a coin flip, I'm still leaning Thielen. The consensus is 38 for Thielen. Singletary, the consensus is 41. So I'm a little higher than the consensus on Singletary, but I still give the lean to Thielen in full PPR. If it's half PPR, we can toggle that as well. But for right now, give Adam Thielen. KJ Frederick, shout out to you. Thanks for tuning in. Better start tomorrow based on matchups. Justin Herbert or Kyler Murray. I mean, full PPR, I don't think moves the needle for either of them. I don't think they'll be catching passes. But I have Herbert at quarterback 9 and Kyler Murray down at quarterback 13. The consensus has him at 9 and 10, with Murray being at 10. So my pessimism for Kyler Murray is that I think that Arizona is going to ride a little bit more with James Conner. Remember last week, Conner was first week back from IR. He still got, 14 carries, 16 carries. I think it's going to continue to be that, if not more. Amari DeMarcado is out. Michael Carter was just claimed off of waivers, but I don't anticipate he's going to eat much into James Conner's role. So give me Justin Herbert in probably get right game against Green Bay. Like, Green Bay has really struggled this year. As the resident Green Bay Packers fan, I can attest to how poorly they've looked. So don't be surprised if it is LA Chargers just romping of my poor Green Bay Packers. In this game, the Packers are 3-point dogs at home. The over-under is 44. So like 25 or 23.5 to 20. That's what we expect. So yeah, I think the Packers would be lucky if they score more than 20 points. Okay. Let's keep her going. Devontae Adams or Christian Kirk in the rankings. I've assumed full PPR, and that's what KJ Frederick does have it as. I have Adams at wide receiver 10 this week. Christian Kirk, I have at wide receiver 19 this week. So I do have Adams higher. I understand that Devontae Adams has struggled as of late, but there has been a significant effort to get Adams more targets. The new coach, Pierce, for the Las Vegas Raiders, recognizes that Adams is the best player on the team. And we saw the second most targets of the season just this past week against the Jets. Now, the Jets have a really, really tough secondary. So limited Devontae Adams to 6'4", 86, despite 13 targets, 14.3 yards per reception. He had the 42-yard reception against the Jets, which was able to buoy him. That's what I mean is, like, Devontae Adams still getting the targets, still having the chance to have the big plays. So give me Devontae Adams over Christian Kirk. Kirk is not going to demand 12 to 14 targets. Devontae Adams still has that within range of outcomes. We also saw Trevor Lawrence continue to struggle a little bit. So the confidence of Adams getting just peppered with targets, I think we're getting back on track this week in week number 11. All right, KJ also asked, should I drop Chuba Hubbard for the Steelers defense or should I just roll with the Chiefs against the Eagles? Chiefs defense has been pretty good for me. Yeah, it depends on who else you have at running back, whether you need like a flex. Chuba Hubbard is flex-ish. Like floor is like 6 points, ceiling is like 13 points. You're probably going to get 10 from Chuba Hubbard. But the Steelers defense gets the Browns and DTR. I don't mind them as a streamer. The over-under for this game is 33 points, which means that the implied game total for each of these teams, the implied team point totals is like 16 points because it's supposed to be a close game. If there are a lot of, it just depends on your scoring too. We think that the Steelers front seven is going to be able to get to DTR, the rookie. So I don't mind that as a streamer, but long term, you don't want to be dropping the Chiefs defense. All right. Amari Cooper, Garrett Wilson, Brian Robinson, Nico Collins, sit 1. Yeah, so Cooper, I have at not at 32. I have him at wide receiver 32, but I'll pull up the flex rankings here. Cooper, I have at 67th in the flex rankings. Garrett Wilson is 28th in the flex rankings. Brian Robinson is 42nd. And Nico Collins is 45th. So Amari Cooper is the odd man out, given the uncertainty with DTR at quarterback. Yeah, we're worried about Amari Cooper. Could Amari Cooper go like 4 for 60, 4 for 80? Yeah, he could. But it'll be ugly, and this is a low over-under. The Steelers secondary, as poor as it's been, is still not going to... If the front seven is able to get to DTR, they're not going to have to worry too much about that secondary and Amari Cooper. That's why we're not starting a lot of Elijah Moore. We're not looking to desperation start a lot of these other ancillary wide receivers as desperation plays. WKD1, shout out to you from YouTube. Should I drop Calvin Ridley or Josh Downs for James Conner or not pick up Conner at all? You need to pick up James Conner. He gets the volume. He's got the juice. He's back off of the injured reserve. We saw it right out of the gate. James Conner was earning the snaps, earning the touches out of the Arizona backfield. He's clearly the running back one. You're not going to pass that up for a Josh Downs type. So yes, I think you're dropping Josh Downs for James Conner moving forward. You do that. Angel Herrera, thank you for tuning in. Do we start Pat Freiermuth coming off IR or stick with Musgrave? Yeah, a lot of the consensus rankings haven't updated Pat Freiermuth coming off the IR. Freiermuth, I have at tight end 17. Musgrave, I have at 16. The consensus on Musgrave is 14. Okay, I am higher than consensus on Freiermuth and lower on Musgrave, and I still have Musgrave over Freiermuth this first week back. So I'm going to go with Luke Musgrave against the LA Chargers. And the Chargers, remember, just got torched last week. Brock Wright even scored a touchdown. So if Brock Wright is scoring touchdowns against you, woof. And then looking at what Luke Musgrave has done over the last couple of weeks, he's finished as the tight end 7 and tight end 11 against the Rams and Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's fine. Like, we're okay with those finishes. In fact, Musgrave has had 4 top 12 finishes this week out of 9 games. Almost half the time he's a top 12 tight end. It's not pretty, but I think we roll with Musgrave, Angel Herrera. But I am higher on Freiermuth. I get it. It's pretty much a coin flip, but given Musgrave's recent production and not coming off of IR, we're going to go with Musgrave. Harlan Kramer is trying to trade Amari away. Who would be a big target to go for? Yeah, here's the thing is you have to read the market of whether there's any takers for an Amari Cooper type. Because if someone thinks that they're going to continue, if Amari Cooper is going to continue his season average, then that's folly. If you can get a Tyler Lockett, if you can get a Christian Kirk, if you can get a Zay Flowers, I think Zay Flowers is a nice target moving forward. Like Zay Flowers just missed a 60-yard touchdown. He missed another 30-yard touchdown. This could have been a 30-point game for Zay Flowers on Thursday night. Just barely missed on the 30-yard touchdown, and then the 60-yard one was called back due to offensive pass interference. I think Zay Flowers is set up for a really strong rest of season given the Mark Andrews injury. And we saw what happened when Mark Andrews was out. It was not Isaiah Likely who was getting the extra targets. It was Zay Flowers who was getting 25, 30, 40% of the targets. So we need Zay Flowers. And that's who I would try to go get if I had Amari Cooper and I was not confident in Amari Cooper. Yeah. I think that's about right. Chandler, Costantino, shout out to you. A lot going on. I'm sorry. No, I saw your other chats. That's okay. So the team is quarterback none. You don't have a quarterback. Yikes. Pollard, Kyron, ETN, Connor, Evans, Debo, Ridley, Amari, Keenan, Kittle, Burrow. Burrow is out. Just trade Mike Evans for Josh Allen and Terry. Yeah. Oh, you do need a quarterback. Yeah, because if Josh Allen is going to be out that week for sure, you need bye week coverage. Would you trade Connor and Ridley for Purdy and Stevenson? Yes. Yes, you don't want to be without a quarterback. That's how I would handle it. Yes. You've got Pollard. You got Kyron coming back. You've got ETN. You should be just fine. Carlin asks, is T. Higgins a good trade target? Before the Joe Burrow injury, I would have said absolutely yes, 100%. T. Higgins is a buy low. Now we cannot be that confident. Jamar Chase was barely able to get targets. I know Browning is was able to step in and be a pulse out there, but Chase couldn't get anything done. And T. Higgins has had his ups and downs. I don't see how T. Higgins coming back from the injury is going to be a guy who can access elite ceilings like you drafted him in the second or early third round to achieve. He wasn't doing it with Burrow to begin with. He had maybe 1 or 2 games where he exploded over the last couple of years. T. Higgins, unfortunately, his value is nerfed. Jamar Chase's value is nerfed. Like, we need to have it proven to us that Browning can sustain these players, because he was not able to prove that in the Thursday night game. And so he needs to prove before we can be any sort of confident about the rest of the Cincinnati Bengals offense. I think the only player that we're confident about volume-wise is Joe Mixon. And Joe Mixon is not an efficient running back. We don't like his efficiencies, but he's going to get the volume to protect Browning and to try to keep the Bengals in games. It's frustrating. It is really frustrating. So before this Joe Burrow injury, yes, T. Higgins was a good trade target. Now it is not the case. So T. Higgins, as Project Dre mentions in the chat, dropped T. Higgins. Yes, I think T. Higgins is droppable for rest of season. Let someone else deal with that. Let someone else try to figure out if they're starting T. Higgins or not. Make that someone else's problem, because there's going to be other players who step up as the running back's going to get injured. The running back is going to be out. We're going to have some bye week fill-ins. People are going to step up. The depth charts are going to shift a little bit. Maybe someone gets cut. Who knows? But there's going to be other players who have clearer roles and better offenses moving forward. So I don't mind if you're dropping T. Higgins in these small leagues. If you're in a 16-team or 14-team league, you're not dropping T. Higgins, but you don't feel good about it. Or if you have a small bench, you're probably dropping T. Higgins. You just can't afford to have a player like that when you can have other players who can swing for the fences. Like you would pick up the Tank Dell types that are starting to hit later, or Jackson Smith and Jigba still on your bench, or the Romeo Dubs of the world. Those are the players that I think would be good. Marvin Mims might be a nice little stash. We know T. Higgins will be just inconsistent, but maybe, just maybe, Russell Wilson can get the ball a little bit more to Marvin Mims. Okay. Trung Vo, shout out to you. Thanks for tuning in to the Best Ball Fantasy Podcast. If you guys like the content and you found this helpful, smash the subscribe button and share with your friends. Let your league mates know, hey, this guy is giving start sit advice. Appreciate you. So shout out to all y'all for your support so far. It's meant the world in getting this all the way up. And if you want to contribute, you certainly can. Subscribe. That matters to me. It also, just like Angel just did at Edda, you can send me some money too, and support the channel. So just like Angel, if you want, you can use the super stickers. You can join with certain groups. And I'm really excited to have some announcements later on for the ways in which Best Bell is going to continue to grow. And it's all because you guys have been supporting this channel. So thank you to y'all. It's been great. Okay. We'll keep her going. Y'all are awesome. Trung Vo, we'll get back to you. Hate to flex a tight end, but is Logan Thomas, the tight end, good to flex? I got Dowdle, I got Guyton, I got Chark, Jameson, and Eli on the bench. LOL. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not a laughing matter when you're having to deal with decisions like this. In full PPR, I'm assuming this is full PPR. Logan Thomas is at 72 for me in the flex rankings. Dowdle is at 115. Guyton is at 114. So Guyton over Dowdle. Chark is at 141. Jameson is at 129. And let's see, Elijah Mitchell is at 149. So it looks like Logan Thomas is the best of the flex rankings. He's my tight end 10 for this week. So I don't mind you getting some Logan Thomas in there. All right, Angel Herrera need a flex Rondell Moore with Murray back, or Darrell Henderson versus Seattle, or bench Saquon. No, we're not benching Saquon. We are starting Monty and we are starting Saquon. But are we going to go with Rondell Moore, who's my 88th ranked flex play, or Darrell Henderson at 61? We're going to go with Darrell Henderson. Henderson, I have at running back, PPR running back 24 this week. So we're going Henderson over Rondell Moore. Even though I understand there's risk with Darrell Henderson splitting the carries about 50-50 with Royce Freeman. I get it. I understand. But Rondell Moore is a low average depth of target type of wide receiver. He needs a big play. And that is a fluky thing, especially given that Rondell Moore is not the first or second read. It's obviously Hollywood Brown and Trey McBride are the first two reads. And then maybe it's Michael Wilson, but Wilson is questionable. I think if Wilson misses, we can plug Rondell Moore in as a flex play more confidently over Darrell Henderson. But if Michael Wilson is going to play, then we're going with Darrell Henderson. Ivy Catholic, shout out to you. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, thanks for bringing the best Bell fantasy content. With Achane being questionable, do I start Godwin Collins over him in the flex? Yeah, so Achane, I'm starting him in most places. And whether that's folly or not, I'm going to start Achane. So Achane, I have at 36th in my flex rankings. Godwin, I have at 53. And Collins, I have at 45. So Achane, I have over the other two wide receivers pretty comfortably. Gooder Boy, I lost both Mark Andrews and Joe Burrow for the season. I'm so sorry. That sucks. In fact, why don't we just cancel Thursday Night Football altogether? Please, can we? Can we do that? Can we all protest Thursday Night Football, they either give us crappy matchups or all of our players get hurt on national TV. What are we doing? Please, please give me some quality football without injuries. Can we toggle off injuries then if we're going to have good matchups, please, for Thursday night? Come on, Bezos, you're rich enough. You can do that, right? Okay. You missed the chance to trade Jalen Warren for Laporta. What's the path forward? Do I make a play for a guy like Evan Ingram? I think if you're going to try to get some tight ends. Oh, yeah. Fryermuth is probably real cheap. I'm looking at the list here. Schultz has probably priced himself out too much. Logan Thomas, I think, underrated. You probably can get Logan Thomas on the cheap. Either that or off of waivers. Same thing with Cole Kmet. You probably can get them pretty cheap. Luke Musgrave, also a buy low, I think. So a couple players that I think you can look at getting. Okay, Gooner Boy. Nathan Walsh Haynes, shout out to you. What's up, man? I have Kincaid and Ingram. Do I start Kincaid and either Rashee Rice, Jacoby Myers, Evan Ingram in the flex? Yeah, so how I have the flexes set up, we can talk about the flex rankings, but Kincaid I have at 54. Ingram is all the way down at 64. So Kincaid over Ingram. And then Rice at 75. Myers at 71. So Myers over Rashee Rice in the full PPR. Ingram at 64. So we do have Evan Ingram over those other two wide receivers. Yeah. Let's go Evan Ingram, especially because we're not sure if Zay Jones is going to be available for this game. Project Dre made a trade for T. Higgins and Stephon Diggs early in the season. Steph was looking for T. Hasn't had any production. Now no quarterback, not a good buy. Yeah, unfortunately, that's how injuries work sometimes. It falls the wrong way, and we just got to live with those lumps sometimes. So I'm sorry, Project Ray. A Singletary or Hollywood Brown in the flex. Singletary I'm pretty high on this week. He's 39th in my flex rankings, whereas Brown is at 41. And this is the same like matchup. It's Houston versus Arizona, but we just saw Devin Singletary get 30 carries, 30-0. And in a competitive game that's going to be high scoring, Singletary is going to be used around the goal line. We're going to get a lot of touches from Devin Singletary. Damian Pierce is out for this game, so we don't have to worry about him. Is it going to be a split backfield or whatever? We're going to want that, okay? So shout out to y'all for asking all those questions. I would lean Singletary, but you can't deny that Hollywood Brown earns a lot of targets, and he's the number one wide receiver for the Cardinals. But I like Singletary and his goal line work with a higher chance of a touchdown. Okay, Trung Vo, shout out to you. Thank you. And also, thank you for the super sticker. Appreciate you, Trung Vo. If you like the content and you found this helpful, there are lots of ways you can support the channel. One is by subscribing, smashing that subscribe button if you like the content. You can also throw some super stickers my way. That really helps the channel grow. And I've got some awesome announcements as this channel grows that are going to be coming here in the coming months, and I'm really excited to be rolling those out. So stick with me and BestBell throughout this off season. Really excited for the things that are happening, and so don't tune out during the off season. You're going to become a better fantasy football player by sticking with this channel, figuring out what's going on, learning more about the players, and taking along for the ride. I'm going to have a lot of drafts this off season so we can think about this process, do a lot of drafting scenarios and decision matrices and best ball values. The best ball value rating is going to be updated, and I'm going to make sure that gets out to people this year. There were some very awesome things that I was doing with Player Profiler this summer, which is why, unfortunately, I wasn't able to get that out for y'all, but I was mentioning it a lot in the research I had been doing. So it's a matter of now publishing it and getting it out. And now that I've got all those things in place and the next steps, I'm really excited for the next steps of Best Bell and what that'll look like here in the coming months. I appreciate all of your support. It's been tremendous this season. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. Bryce Ridley, start 3. Monty, Brian Robinson, Aaron Jones, Ken Walker. Just my initial reaction without looking at the rankings is probably Monty who's going to be benched. But let me look at the rankings, and I'm assuming this is full PPR. We'll keep it in full PPR. Walker, I have at running back 12. Jones is my running back 9. Brian Robinson is at 17. Monty is at 16. So it looks like Robinson is lower. Consensus for Robinson is 18. We expect that Antonio Gibson is going to be out for this game. He's doubtful due to a toe injury. If you're looking for a desperation running back, you're like, Bradley, I just need someone with a pulse at running back. Like, I've lost all my running backs, and I just need someone. Chris Rodriguez for Washington is a player that has gotten some carries in the past. Will probably be a breather back for Brian Robinson. And his good yards after contact per attempt. In college, he had a good PFF rushing grade at University of Kentucky. He was drafted by Washington. He's their guy. And so I'm thinking that is how I'd roll. I still like Brian Robinson, but to put him, it's a coin flip between Monty and Robinson. You're starting Walker and you're starting Jones, though. Okay. Do you think I should trade Jamar now for someone like CD Lamb, Cooper Kupp, Ramon-Ra? Yeah, if you can. In your redraft leagues. Yes. If you can get CD Lamb, Cooper Kupp, or Amon-Ra St. Brown, yes, you absolutely do that, Ivy Catholic. Thoughts on Zay Flowers and Jerome Ford rest of the season, PPR, wide receiver 2, and RB2? Yeah, so I think Zay Flowers is going to be the main beneficiary of the Mark Andrews injury. Odell Beckham looks like he's looking the part. Like Beckham had over 110 receiving yards in the Thursday game against Cincinnati. Beckham has looked a lot better over the last few weeks, and he's earning targets, which is what we wanted to see and what we were hoping for. With Mark Andrews out, I think it's going to be a tandem of Beckham and Zay Flowers, with Flowers getting somewhere between 25 and 30% of targets. So that's going to put him on the wide receiver 2 radar, especially in PPR. Jerome Ford, on the other hand, has gotten vultured at the goal line by Kareem Hunt numerous times. So I think there's a better chance of Zay Flowers being a wide receiver 2 rest of season than Jerome Ford running back 2 rest of season. All right, Musgrave and Kyle Pitts are on the waivers. That's for Gunnar Boy. Yeah. Kyle Pitts probably pegs in as like tight end 12, 13. Same thing with Musgrave. I'd rather just stream those guys. Probably stream Musgrave. I think that's fine. They're Gunnar Boy. Would you trade Josh Jacobs for Kenneth Walker? Josh Jacobs last week. Let's actually look at the last 2 weeks, right? Since the shifts have happened. Josh Jacobs against the Giants, 26 for 98. And then against the Jets, 27 for 116. He got 2 touchdowns in the Giants game. He didn't have a touchdown. He's been running back 10, 2, and 20 and had 15, 26, and 27 carries. I think that is Josh Jacobs rest of season, given the ridiculous volume, even though he has his bye week for week 13. I don't think that outweighs the gaining of the amount of carries. Like over the last 2 weeks, Josh Jacobs has his 2 season highs in carries and in rushing yards. So he's been getting the volume ever since Pierce took over as head coach, and he's we saw at best a top 5 running back and at worst a back end running back too. Whereas Kenneth Walker, we've seen him struggle. We've seen him been dealing with some injuries, soft tissue issues, blah, blah, blah. And the Seattle offense has been pretty inconsistent. He had a fluke play last week. Give me Josh Jacobs over Kenneth Walker rest of season. Cody Stokes. I have Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. Do you think both will produce tomorrow, or will one have a better game? Well, we can look no further than my rankings, which I have on bestbellfantasy.com. You can go to bestbellfantasy.com and you can go to weekly rankings. You can also, I'll just put the link in the chat as well. Y'all can go there. You can see my weekly rankings. I'll update them one more time before the start of the 1 p.m. Eastern games. So this is as of right now. And then I'll do one more shift. You shouldn't expect significant shifts outside of if we hear about injuries or benchings or things like that. But I update these right before the game. So y'all can just check out the website, bestbellfantasy.com/weekly-rankings. You can go bestbellfantasy.com, go to rankings, and then click weekly. You'll see it updated in real time, and it'll tell you when it was last updated. Okay. So that's cool. Cool. All right, sweet. And so looking, is it going to be Breece Hall, who is 15th overall for me in the flex rankings, or Garrett Wilson? I have at 28. So Breece Hall I have ahead of Garrett Wilson. But Garrett Wilson is number 2 among all wide receivers over the last 3 weeks in terms of total targets. He's had 3 straight games of at least 12 targets, and he's had 4 of his last 5 games with at least 12 targets. So Garrett Wilson getting a ton of targets despite the inefficiencies due to Zach Wilson being #not good at football. But it's okay. Breece Hall is a dog. We love him. He's a dude. He's a man. Standard League 5-5 at first place. Oh, man, Eric. That means you scored a lot of points and got unlucky. Just traded Pacheco and Cooper for Achane and Nico. I'll give you a thumbs up for that one. I like that one. Eric Fortis, full PPR. Tua Purdy, Barkley. We got to start one quarterback. We're starting Tua. Start 2 running backs. Yeah, I have at running back this week. Swift at 10. Pollard at 7. So we're starting those 2 at running back. Devonta Smith we're starting. Thielen and Nakua. Thielen is at 21. Nakua is at 15. So we're going Smith and Nakua. So we're going Pollard, Swift, Smith, Nakua, Tua, and then the last flex spot. I said Achane is my 36th flex. Ford is 68th. We're not doing Jerome Ford. Barkley is 37th. So Achane just a nick ahead of Saquon Barkley. And Achane, Barkley, Thielen are all back to back to back. And Hopkins, I don't think is, not quite there. So we're going with Achane as your flex. Trung Vo, Andrews was my tight end. I have Logan as a backup. Should I pick up Hudson or Parham as another backup? Logan Thomas should be okay. I'm fine with that. If you really want, I like Parham as your other tight end. With Joe Burrow out, Hudson is relegated to nothingness. Yeah, I'm not too worried about that. Cool. Marcus Valdez, half PPR, 1 running back, 1 flex. Pollard, Ayuk, Puka, Jerome Ford, Mostert, Dalton, Schultz. We need upside. Pollard is your upside play for sure at the running back position. And then it's going to be really hard for us to not play Ayuk at the flex. Yeah, because Ayuk I have at 11 among wide receivers this week. So I don't. Yeah, give me Ayuk and give me Pollard as your upside swings. Puka Nacua, if you really want. Ayuk and Nacua are very close, but give me Pollard and Ayuk. Project Ray, shout out to you. I think Conklin's a good buy low, probably available in most leagues. I agree with you. I love Tyler Conklin. Project Ray, you're talking to a Tyler Conklin lover here. So shout out to you. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you doing that. Okay. Javonte or Calvin standard. We're going with Javonte. That was pretty easy. Thank you for giving me an easy one. Terrell T. Appreciate you. Max Phillip investing 12 team half PPR got sent this trade. You give away DK and a first round pick for Adams, Johnson, and Geno. Is a super flex. What is your record? I got a lot. Oh, you're 5-5 in 7th place. No. I mean, you probably can stream a quarterback as good as Geno on a week-to-week basis. So is DK and a 2024 first-round pick get you Devontae Adams, Deontay Johnson? You probably can find another flex play because DK Metcalf is a slight downgrade from Devontae Adams, but it's not enough to get a first-round pick and Deontay Johnson, right? That's not going to work. So no, I'm not doing that. You probably can trade for a different quarterback somewhere else much cheaper, especially because your team is 5-5. And if you're in 7th place, let's say out of 12, that's the 106, which could be, if things fall the wrong way, unfortunately, you're looking at a top 5 pick, top 4 pick for next year. And there's a lot of great wide receivers. There's some good running backs in this class. There's, of course, Brock Bowers, who I don't think is going to be a top 4 pick in your dynasty drafts, but maybe I'm wrong. I haven't gone into that too much yet because we've been focusing on redraft for right now. But you have to think of what's going to happen in 2 years. Devontae Adams is probably not going to be there. DK Metcalf is going to be crushing for you, and so is that 2024 first-round pick if things go wrong. So I think that you have to hold on to DK in 2024 first. You need more firepower if you're going to be trading those 2 pieces away. You need a lot more, Max. Big Daddy Weirdo, need 2 running backs in the flex. Pollard, Monty, Connor, Singletary, Ty Chandler, Puka, Devonta Smith, and McBride. Jeez, Pete's. Let's look at the flex rankings and see if we can help ourselves out here. I assume this is PPR. So let's look at Pollard. Remember, Pollard is my 16th overall. Montgomery is 40th. Connor is at 52. So Monty over Connor. Singletary is at 39th. So Singletary over Monty, who is also over Connor. So Pollard and then Singletary are your 2 running backs here. And then the question is it going to, because we're not going to do Ty Chandler. Is it Puka, who's at 26? That's pretty good. Devonta Smith, who's at 23. Yeah, we want Devonta Smith. So I think it's Pollard and Singletary and Devonta Smith, because McBride, as much as we like McBride, is 59th in the flex rankings. So Pollard, Singletary, Devonta Smith are the answers to this one. Big Daddy Weirdo, shout out to you from Twitch. Thanks for tuning in. Should we start Tank Dell or Jalen Waddle? Waddle I have at 17 this week. Tank Dell is at 25 in the flex rankings. So we're starting Waddle. Need one to start for 1 PPR flex. D-Hop, Laporta, Khalil Herbert, or Ty Chandler. We're not starting Chandler. We're not starting Herbert. We're starting either Laporta or Hopkins. Laporta, I have at 51 in the flex rankings. Hopkins, I have at 43. We're going to start Hopkins this week. Okay. Cool. Should I trade Saquon for Ford and Ingram? If you've got 0 at tight end, yikes. But you probably can stream and get pretty close to Ingram from the flex rankings. So I don't think it's necessarily worth it. I probably wouldn't do that. John Mayloli. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. If I'm not, I apologize. John, start 2, half PPR, Singletary, Collins, Connor, or Cortland Sutton. Yeah, Sutton's gotten a lot of touchdowns this season. Sutton is 49th in the flex rankings, but let's change it to half PPR. Let's shift that a little bit. And you can do the same. If you want to go to bestbellfantasy.com, go to rankings. Weekly rankings will give you the ability to toggle between all of the different positions, the scoring, even have defense, special teams, and kickers up there. And I'll update it one more time before game time. So appreciate all y'all doing that. Okay. So start 2 in the half PPR. We've got Singletary at 31 in the flex rankings, Collins at 55, Connor at 40, and then Sutton at 57. So we're starting Singletary and James Conner in the half PPR standings. DTR or Kenny Pickett? This is gross, Gooner boy. Why are you asking this question? It is disgusting. Like literally, these are the bottom 2 ranked quarterbacks I have on the week. Kenny Pickett, I have at 27. DTR, I have at 28. Yuck. Gross. Disgusting. All right, Trung Vo with the Cortland Sutton sleeper possibility. Maybe Cortland Sutton will be able to outperform. He's been buoyed by touchdowns this season. We'll see if that streak continues against Minnesota. Y'all, this has been a lot of fun. I appreciate all y'all tuning in. It's way past my bedtime, but I'm here for y'all, giving you some of the best start sit content in the industry. Appreciate all y'all. If you find this helpful, make sure you guys are subscribing on the YouTube channel, Best Bell Fantasy. You can also subscribe on Twitch so that when I'm going live. And I appreciate all of you just and the way you've supported this channel. And I'm excited to continue to grow with you as we move forward. All right, everyone. Good luck with your week 11 start sits. Until next time, best of luck. May the touchdowns fall in your favor.
I embrace all this risk, I'm insane. Talking about that best bell, I'm the best till into the next world. Guess I got next still. Best bell, I'm the best till into the next world. Guess I got next still.